All right, here we go.
I feel the minutes count down on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Residentdarrell / Loot Bros podcast. We figured it out. Thank you, Keith. This is the first time we've gone live here on the YouTube. So for those of you guys who are not familiar with what we're doing, I'm Residentdarrell, and this is my first official live guest, and I'm very excited to have the Pickin Preacher, man. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. So you just gave me a crash course real fast in how some of the production stuff works on the software. So a little bit of background, how the sausage is made. I've seen like a lot of the YouTubers and a lot of people that I follow use StreamYard, and I've been using Zencastr for years, and I've been paying out the behind for Zencastr, and it's great for when you interview people and you do podcasts so that no one has to fool with the recording. It brings everything to me. I can edit it and then put it out. And typically with the Loot Bros, it's an audio only show. So I'm getting into the modern age and everyone's using StreamYard. So I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And I noticed that Will, our mutual friend, has been using that. So he told me, I can't quote him because it was very harsh what he said to me. He said, but if you have any questions, Google it, sink or swim, and then some explicitives. So Pickin Preacher, Keith, how are you doing, man? I'm so glad to have you on right now.
Man, I've been pretty good. It's things up and downs just like anything. But I just got back from Game Jam South in Alabama. That was a lot of fun. So even though there's downs, there's that brings some ups. So I'm doing good though.
Good. Well, so the way things usually work on my podcast now, again, a little bit more on the background, how things are going. The Loot Bros, I used to have a whole bunch of friends, a bunch of bros on the show, and I cycle people out here and there. A lot of it's a lot of solo content right now. And the kids and I have been really focusing more and more on the YouTube stuff. So I'm trying to marry the two. So it's going to be the Loot Bros is still going to exist, and it's still going to be when I bring my bros. But I think a lot of the podcast stuff is going to happen here on YouTube with guests like you. Now, I know I can't trust a lot of these guys, right? Especially Will from PlayStation. Can't trust him. That's foul mouth freaking dudes, So I got to be real careful because I want to keep it PG for the children. But typically what we do on my shows is we start every episode off with a toast, and the toast is for celebrating. We celebrate something that happens in games. We celebrate our guests. We have a Patreon. I usually give a shout out to the patrons that have stuck with us over the years. So typically we crack open a cold one, and this is about as hard as we go in the house.
That's all I got.
There you go. And so this toast is going out to you, Pickin Preacher. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thanks for having me, man.
And of course, to our patrons, JT and MZ, our producers, thank you guys so much for sticking with us all these years.
There we go. Hold on, let me get some of this stuff.
There you go. Give it a nice little ASMR. We got a couple people that for years I would do that, and they write in, "Oh, it gets me every time. I hate when you do that." And I'm like, "But you keep listening, so clearly,
hey, man, a lot of people dig it. Like, I was actually shocked with some of the people I know. I won't say names, just in case, but they were telling me like they go to sleep by listening to ASMR, and it's not just some like weird thing, it's like they genuinely listen to some like people talk about making food, and they're real quiet.
Interesting.
They hear the peanut butter, and it just seems, I know, dude. That's what I'm thinking. It sounds a little weird to me, but to each their own, I guess. And they were like, "No, it's not a weird thing. It's a very relaxing thing." I was like, "All right."
Hey, man. So it's weird. I always associate ASMR with something weird and sexual.
That's what I
to see that you two will throw up an ASMR like people sticking their hands in like slime. It's like, I'm like, I used to do that when I was in like 4th grade, making fart noises with it.
Oh yeah.
So, but that's not why we're here. ASMR fart noises. I could go all night on those, but that's not why we're here. So the reason why we're here tonight Mr. Preacher, is because a mutual friend said that we would enjoy each other's company. And I tend to agree with this person on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some things not so much.
Sure.
But I did check your channel out.
Okay.
And instantly I was like, oh, this is my guy right here. This dude, first off, you're a preacher, as it says so right there in the name.
That's it.
I heard you mention one time that you were in a metal band at one point in time, maybe even a punk band as well.
Like in a metal band, yeah.
There you go. So we're going to get to that.
Okay.
And of course, you're out there. You've been coined a scumbag reseller.
Sure have. Yeah.
And I wear that badge of honor. It's almost like a scarlet letter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it should just be right here. So we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we do it, we got to prove to the internets that we're actual real gamers, that we're not those fake gamers. So we're going to talk about a couple games we've been playing, and maybe even some pickups, some things that we've acquired, possibly a scummy acquisition, maybe
possibly a scummy. Some people may think it's scummy, but Well,
I've learned that the ones that typically think it's scummy, it's just because they didn't get the deal. There's no real merit to it. So, and we have a mutual friend who goes by the name Pickin Steve, who he doesn't know who I am, but he said some pretty gross things about me one time.
Really?
And, I think he was just firing from the hip because he didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
But I'm he's one of those guys that got some weird parameters out there on what's savory and what's not.
I was going to say it's kind of funny because I was like, when Will told me about you, Will told me, and I don't know how much he wants me saying that, but he had told me he dabbles in the scumminess of reselling.
He's a closet scumbag.
That's right. So then he told me about you, and then I went to your channel, and I saw where you having sealed PS4, PS5, and Xbox One games, and you were selling them. I was like, oh, he's a reseller. And so I'm going to be honest, I was kind of shocked because I think some of the people from I could be wrong, but I think some people like me from Pickin Steve because I'm friends with him, and so they see I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, I was shocked when I found that out about Will, and then you, and I was like, oh, okay, because of the mutual friendship. So
yeah. Well, what's that old saying? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So he's got his arm locked tight around Steve. He's like, hey, we're buddies. Literally, while he's texting me, I'm about to get that mom deal. I'm ripping someone off. Hey, Steve, look at me. I'm a good dude. He's a great dude. He's so funny, and he always shushes me whenever I start trying to exploit, what he's saying. But again, we do a lot of reselling. As a matter of fact, we've actually falling into the reselling. It was always I've always done this stuff, and we're going to get into our backgrounds a little bit. But it's always been like a means to an end, like trades, like that right there.
Yeah,
that's like one of my old Ninja Loop guitars.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so what I would do is I would tour. We'd have a stretch of 4 or 5 dates in a row. I'd get on Craigslist and I'd get in the trader paper and things like that. And I'd be like, hey, I got a music equipment trading for video game collections. I got video game collections. I'm trading for guitars. And that was kind of my shtick. And reselling became a thing because I transitioned into the mortgage business. And that's been a roller coaster for me.
I bet.
So reselling is extremely consistent. And it also has allowed the kids and I to build out our collection.
Yeah.
While not really having a lot of money invested in it personally.
Yeah, that's right.
So that one video that you were talking about specifically, that was like the beginning of this year that like someone contacted me. She was buying pallets of tools and home goods, and there was a box of overstocked video games in there, hundreds of them.
Yeah, I saw it. You had a bunch of them.
Yeah, and so she was like, hey, I see that you do this. How about I sell you these for this is what I'm asking. She had everything on Excel spreadsheets and everything.
Yeah.
All colored and everything. She's like, here's what I think like would be good, fair. She's like, so I make money. And then here's what the retail is. So you can make money.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's more than fair. I didn't even have to negotiate with her. The only thing I negotiated on was the controllers and headsets just because I knew I had to test them and I was scared of them.
Yeah.
But I immediately made my money back. So I was like, dude, this was awesome. So yeah, that was a scummy deal that the reseller pitched me. She was like, I just ripped somebody off. Let me
I just ripped somebody off.
Yeah, let me bring you in and get you unclean with me. So
not only one person guilty now.
That's right. It's like she's a leper, and I just did. She was like unclean. I'm like, I'm coming. So a little Bible humor for that.
Nice.
So let's get into what have you been playing.
Okay.
You want me to call you Pickin Preacher or Keith? What do you like?
Just call me Keith, man. It's whatever you prefer, but most people just call me Keith.
What if I called you Pee-Pee?
I mean, you can if you want. I might feel a little weird going when you say, "Hey, Pee-Pee," and then I go, "Hey." Yeah, I might be like, "Oh,
hey, babe, what are you doing in there? I'm talking to Pee-Pee." Whoa, you're low. Sorry.
Wow.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
I'll call you Keith.
Yeah, that would probably be good right there. So what were you saying? My bad. I was too busy.
What have you been playing?
Okay,
I know you got this. I know you got the saga going on, but what are some games you've been playing?
So I mean, I'm playing a lot of stuff because I play a lot of stuff with the kids. But just me personally, I'm trying to actually play through the Saturn games. So I am currently in Shining Force 3 on the Sega Saturn. I just went through Shining the Holy Ark and then Dark Savior. And I started Brave Fencer Musashi on the PS1. But I haven't gotten very far, and the only ones I'm invested in are the Saturn ones, really. And then with my kids, it's one of the pickups is Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, and
very nice.
And I think that's there's a few things. I play Mario with my wife every now and then, Super Mario World, but yeah, that's what I'm actually like playing. So.
Nice. Well, I have a handful of games that I've been playing as well. It's a bit of I'm all over the place. I don't know how you would want to phrase my gaming, but lately I have had a little bit of a struggle getting really married to something.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a bit of a gaming polygamist at the moment. I'm just
gaming polygamist.
Just kind of all over the place. There are certain. I just came off of a run of playing some really great games. And so a group of our podcast listeners and patrons and stuff, we have this trophy hunting competition that we're running through the year.
Okay.
And so a group of us, or a couple of us, are playing together. So we're doing a little bit of the PS3 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 3, a little bit of trophy hunting on there. And then a little bit of it kind of goes into what I've been playing. I picked up a Vita game this past week that I wasn't expecting. I knew I would get it eventually because, like, you're doing the Saturn saga.
Yeah,
I am going. I don't have a catchy name for it, but I'm collecting Vita. I wanted to call it Vita Vasectomy, but it kind of sounded like I was getting rid of games.
Yeah, that would sound like
not acquiring them. So
I was trying to think of something that would go with it, but
so,
those are hard to find.
They are, and I'm not being aggressive. It's very casual. It's very much what I get in the wild and what I get in bundles and trade deals. As I get closer to the end of the North American list, and I'm not including the limited run games. I really, really despise that company, and so, and I had the founder. I had one of the two founders, Doug, on my show years ago when they really had first launched and they were getting into the first couple of Vita games. And so, they weren't bad guys back then. I hate their business practices now. So I don't even buy from them if I don't.
I've
feel
heard
like I have
some things. I don't know a lot, but I've heard some things about. I won't get into all that, but I've heard some.
Right. Well, it's just from a very practical sense. Anyone who buys from them knows that you wait forever. You might wait a year to get your game that you've pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And it's then from some of the political decisions they've made with their
employees. That's what I was talking about. Hey, look.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm better off just not buying your games. So for the Vita, I'm going just the straight, the North American release, the common stuff, not necessarily the limited run stuff.
Sure.
And maybe once I complete that, I'll go for the limited. Yeah, we'll see. So I don't have a cool, catchy name. I'm not doing a specific series because I'm doing the Vita. When I go to sell them, it'll be my Vita vasectomy. So, but I'm doing PSP, PS Vita, PS3. Those are the three main consoles I collect for. And because there's so much bulk and volume,
Yeah.
when we started the YouTube channel, we were about 100 PS3 games and less than 100 of the other two.
Yeah.
We're over 500, getting close to 550 PS3 games,
Wow.
130, 140 Vita games, and 140 or so PSP games, not including movies as well. So,
Now, are you just grabbing like whatever you find, or are there certain?
right now, just kind of whatever I find, and it just it really kind of whatever. If I'm going to go buy a deal, let's say Keith, you're on Marketplace today, and you're like, "Hey, I've got all these video games, and in the middle of the stack, there's a Vita game or a PSP game. I'm going to make a play. I'm going to pull out what I need, and then I'm going to resell the rest, to fund the next run." My daughter and I just launched a series now called Collecting 360 Xbox 360 games.
Oh, nice.
And now it's going to be me, all three of my kids doing this with me, but we're working on our next video now, 50-ish titles that we've picked up over the course of doing the YouTube channel. So not all of it's brand new and fresh, but we figure with everything going on with the Xbox 360, now's a good time to show, hey, this is what we've picked up since we started this journey of just vlogging our pickups. So there's no real rhyme or reason to the way we buy and collect. It's just more so like, these are the deals. This is what we found. This is how we did it. This is what it's worth, and then if there's a scummy practice in there, so be it.
What do you mean scummy? Because I guess it really depends on who you ask.
Well, I don't think anything's scummy. I typically the way I do business is I try to let you make the offer.
Yeah.
And then if you and I are not even close, I won't even make a play.
Yeah.
But if we're close, I might lean a little bit and go, hey, you want $10? Maybe I'll give you 8, because I know I got to test it. I got to clean it. I got to blah, 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 blah. I know what it's worth.
Yeah.
But realistically for us, it's been more volume than it is small transactions.
Sure. That's what I would prefer too.
Yeah.
You get more bang for your buck too.
Correct. And we've really gotten on that trade gravy.
Yep. Train. You watch Cody with a K at all?
I do. And it's funny because I didn't like him at first because his videos were so overly edited and so obnoxious.
Yeah.
But there's they're very entertaining as well. And it's like he has you and him both, but have an on-screen personality that I know and people that are around me know. Yeah. Like, I could do that and I make people laugh, and I'm a funny guy, and so, but when I don't do it on screen, it's just not natural. It doesn't feel organic to me. So I'm like, I watch y'all's videos and I'm like, I could do that because I'm doing that in real life, but to do it on camera, I hadn't quite found my shtick yet. So, but I do watch them, and I've learned a lot just from watching his videos.
He's a good, because I talk to him probably every day. He's a real man. You should reach out to him, because the first time I ever reached out to him, I just randomly said, hey, would you send me some video stuff? And so he sent a little cameo. And so he's supposedly got some Saturn stuff coming up that he's supposed to be sending me, but we'll see. Cause he's like, all of his videos are like 4 or 5 months ahead of everything as well. So
they have to be to do the amount of editing he does. They have to be, which is foreshadowing. We're going to come back to that.
Okay. Right on.
As far as like what I said, what I've been playing, been dabbling in the Call of Duties a little bit. I started playing this game called Postal, which is a Quake kind of Duke Nukem kind of game. Like it's got the humor and the crudeness of Duke Nukem, but it's also got the fast-paced first-person shooter as like an old Doom or old Quake or whatever.
Okay.
So I've been playing a little bit of that. That's been fun. Kind of one of those games I can't play around the kids.
Serious Sam got a little bit of the serious.
A little bit of that. Yeah, a little bit of that. I don't know if you've ever played Samurai Warrior. Is it Samurai Warrior? Not Samurai Warrior.
I know Samurai Warrior, but I don't think that's.
No, what's that first-person shooter with Lo Wang is the guy's name? Something Warrior, Shadow Warrior. Warrior.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. Like it's low-hanging fruit, genital jokes, stuff like that. But it's a fast-paced shooter and it's fun.
Yeah.
And so either way, so I've been playing through a little bit of that, and then the biggest thing I guess I've been playing this week is the new TMNT God, what's it called? Mutant something. It was, I guess, an arcade game that they just ported over.
I heard Will talking about that one. I hadn't
Yeah.
played that. We played what was the one what was the one that just came out? It was on like every console.
Shredder's
Yeah,
Revenge or
we
whatever.
played
Yeah.
Shredder's Revenge, but I haven't played the other one.
Heck yeah. So I just picked this one up the other day, and one of my old co-hosts was playing it, and I was like, "Is it good?" And he's like, it's not bad. It's a beat 'em up. It's the 2012, I think, era of the cartoon or your show or whatever. So the kids and I really like that show. We watch it together. When we travel, it's in our van, so it's like on a lot. So I picked it up, and it's fun. So that's kind of been.
I missed that. Which one? The show you're talking about?
It's a 2012 era.
I mean, what show were you talking about?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Okay,
no, totally good.
For some reason I thought you went somewhere else. My bad. Yeah.
No, I'm bringing up my PSMP now, my PlayStation profile, because it'll have all my trophy stuff on there. And,
yeah, my son's in the chat. My son's in the chat. I was going to ask him, hey, Elijah, let me know what other games, because you know how I am. I forget stuff. I know we just played Death's Door, but what are some other games we're playing right now? Because I can't, we're playing so many, I can't remember. So if you can type it, so
same here. Yeah, so it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. Is it? It's Wrath of the Mutants, not Mayhem. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wrath of the Mutants. So I just beat it the other night, but I've got the PlayStation Portal, and I lay in the bed when my wife watches trash reality TV, and I just play. I just play PlayStation.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
So he got Mario Rabbids. So who knows? Sonic Adventure. There we go. That's what's up.
Yeah, no, we played Sonic.
I do see Will Ain't Dead in the chat.
Yeah, so he was here. Is he still here?
I don't know. He said something about not being able to comment earlier, but it's probably because he was putting in profanities.
Oh.
So, no, I think my son's watching it. What's up, buddy? So, all right. So, those are a couple of games we've been playing. And then another segment we like to do here on the show is we like to do pickups, bolos, things like that. And I've got some stuff that I picked up that I'm super happy with. But I want you to go first and show off.
Yeah.
I did watch your most recent video today.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was actually that's so the Saturn saga, or the Panzer Dragoon saga. Mm-hmm. I actually recorded a lot of that like 3 months ago, and I've been editing it, in between videos. And I still have to pick up the game, so I haven't picked up the game yet. So I got these at convention at Game Jam South just recently, and everything was from trade. So I did spend cash on two. You're going to be like, why in the world did you spend cash on these two? And that is because these are two I've been wanting for a long time. They're really random, but no one can stop Mr. Domino on the PS1. Have you ever played this?
No, I've never.
So it's like a $30 game. It's like it's a runner, but it's very Japanese. It's got a Katamari type feel.
Okay.
And so you know how Japanese games are. They're just really bizarre. And so on here, you lay down dominoes and you're just running down like a course, and you lay down the dominoes, and you have to make them hit these certain blocks. And then like in the background, all this stuff happens. Anyways, it's really dumb, but it's so much fun. Now, this is something I got. So I got like 6 of them. Is that cool?
No, dude, you can go. You can ask Will. The other day, I tried to break a record on his show. I brought a crate of games, and I had like 4 stacks. I had like 100 games.
Oh, wow.
So no, you go ahead.
So this is all stuff for me personally. This isn't any kind of like reselling pickups,
right?
But let's see. So I got Fairy Tale Adventure on the Sega Genesis. It's pretty. It's lame as can be, but I played this as a kid, and I've been really wanting it. It's one of those things that's just been like pulling at me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really lame. I went back and played it, and it was so bad it was good. So
that's awesome.
One of those. Let's see. Then we're trying to grow Dreamcast, and so I did this with a trade with one of the vendors next to me. Basically, I just traded some. He's an Amazon seller, so he likes a bunch of cheap stuff, and so he just got a whole bunch of stuff, and I traded this with him. So it was Space Channel 5
I've
on the
seen it.
Dreamcast.
Yep.
And then of course Sonic Adventure we just picked up.
Nice.
And then the last one here is one this is what I'm most excited about. I traded this with so basically I had a Samus edition, new Nintendo 3DS Samus edition.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy came up with 2 3DS XLs, and he gave me those 2 and $100, and I traded it, and I took one of those, and I got this really nice Secret of Mana. Yeah, so and it's all complete, and you can see it.
It looks good.
Really, yeah, it's really good. So it's super clean. So this I'm super excited about. I don't know if you know, almost one of the guys there was the vendor right next to him had it for like almost $100 more, and it wasn't even as good a condition. So I got a really good deal on this one.
Heck yeah!
So, but that's my like. Oh, my son just picked up the. I don't know if you can see it back there. Let me see if I can. The Tears of the Kingdom Switch. So we just got that. So
heck yeah! So is he a little flipper as well, or?
No, he just likes to collect. So he did do a little bit of it, but he hasn't really gotten into it.
Oh, I'm running a sweatshop. I got my daughter making thumbnails. I got my son running the chat on Whatnot when we go live. I got my youngest resurfacing discs. There you go.
Oh wow! So you got it.
Yeah. No, I'm a scumbag raising scumbags. So we're making sure that that lineage is very well. That's a thoroughbred is what we're going for. So all right. So I got this is part of the trade gravy train. Okay. So then I'm not a newbie, no stranger to the trades. Okay. Like I said before, I trade guitars for game collections, trade game collections for guitars. I was a youth pastor years and years ago at a small church, and we adopted a family. And one of the things I did was I had traded an amp or something for a huge Xbox 360 collection. And one of the kids that we adopted wanted the video games. Like he wanted a game console.
Okay.
And the family couldn't even afford food, much less a console. So I gave that boy an Xbox 360.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I've been doing this a long time, but there's something about the way that Cody does it in his videos that makes me go, that's a little bit more intentional. You do spend a lot of time fielding the offers. But I went a little out of left field with it. I was like, I bought a tool palette. Let me put some tools on there. Let me put some microwaves on there. Let me put some patio furniture on there. I'm going to trade for video games. So far, I just got cash, which is lame because then you just go out and eat and then the cash is gone and you're just like, well, now I'm just fat and broke. I don't have any extra video games. Yeah, true that. And so, but I did, so the last little mini con that I did was like it's called a trade event. It's like 16 tables of vendors inside of a vendor mall, or whatever.
Like a swap kind of.
Yeah, kind of like a swap meet. It's easier to say con than it is to say any of those other things. Yeah. I'm doing another one tomorrow, same place, but it's been like 3 months or whatever. So, one of the videos I put on YouTube, it was called Chaos at the Con. And basically what I did was I had a bunch of stuff at my table and I was like one of the first tables there. So people were coming in with their video games and I was just buying them and trading for them. I was the first guy. So like I got all the good stuff. People walking in the door. So I started off, I bought a dude's collection and then I pulled all these like Zeldas and GameCube games, all this stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm going to put them on my table, flip them and pay for the day. And then I had a guy come in with an Xbox, or excuse me, a PS5 disc, the God of War disc version, and traded me for the stuff that I had gotten that morning. So I brought it home, surprised my kids, and my oldest son, he saved up his own money, bought his own PS5, but he bought the digital version to save himself $100. So I went ahead and I surprised him. I upgraded him. I took the digital PlayStation and put it on Marketplace and like made my ask. Yeah. And I had a bunch of offers come in. I had some good ones and some really crappy ones. You're
doing this with a trade? Trying to trade?
Straight trade, like no cash accepted. And it was, dude, people ask like, I got an Xbox 360.
Dude, I've gotten broken Wii. Somebody's like, I got a Wii, it's broken, but I got 2 controllers with it. I'm like, for like for Xbox Series X, and I'm like,
Yeah. Like, dude, one guy was like, I got a Wii. It's the disk drive don't work, but it's
yeah,
modded.
yeah, exactly. It's
Like,
like,
no thanks, man.
I think you're missing the point.
Yeah. So, and, but then you get some cool offers. And then, so it settled on one with a friend. And I was I didn't love the offer, but I was like, yeah, dude, we'll do it. Well, he couldn't make the date. He didn't show up and was like, but kind of made a bad call too. Cause he was like, I love the dude to death. And if he's listening to this, I love you, bro. But you know what you did. You bad for that. So we're messaging. He's like, hey, I got to work late. I'm like, okay, we got a bunch of stuff we got to do. So here's the window. And I had everything packed up for him. And he was like, well, I got to drive all the way home, which is like 35, 40 minutes. He goes, get everything. And then I got to drive all the way back to you, which is, we're almost an hour apart from each other.
Yeah.
Because he works kind of in the halfway point.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? You mean we had this whole thing planned for a week and you didn't bring it to work with you to save yourself an hour and a half of driving?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I was like, you literally could have drove to my house, dropped everything off, grabbed the PlayStation 5 and left, and you'd have been done, you know? So I was like, fine, whatever. I said, we'll figure out another day. The next morning, this dude a different guy sends me an offer for my PS5. It's a Switch. It's 3 graded comic books. It's a stack of Switch games. It's Xbox games, Xbox One games, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he offered me cash. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'll meet you now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already packed up. So I messaged my buddy. I was like, hey, sorry, I had to take a better offer. You know? And it is what it is. And he was cool. I said, I'll get you on the next one. And he knows I will. I'll take care of this dude.
Yeah.
I've hooked him up in the past. So I've hooked him up with vehicles. So I mean, our deals go good.
Yeah.
But
he knows.
Yeah, he knows. He knows I'll take care of him. But the thing that sold it for me, more so than the Switch, more so than the 9 Switch games, more so than the graded comic books, which I thought was cool, was this right here. And that is X-Files on PS1. Wow. I am a huge X-Files fan. It's complete, but I'm not going to open it. I've never owned this game. Yeah. I've never had it. I never had this one or the one on PS2.
Yeah. I've never seen it or anything. So.
Dude, me either, technically, other than YouTube videos, you know. And it's just one of those games that it's always escaped me. And I'm not one of those people that, like, when I want a game, I'll just run to eBay, although I sell on eBay.
Sure.
I like the thrill of the hunt. That's what I'm after.
Absolutely. No, I'm the same way.
So if I can't go find it in the wild, and yes, Will, GameStop is the wild.
we talked about that on his live.
He's like, GameStop's not the wild. I'm like, bro, have you been inside a GameStop before? It don't get much wilder than that. There's some crazy stuff going on in there. So I picked that one up.
What is not the wild?
For me, not the wild is eBay, is Whatnot.
Where you know Amazon. Exactly where you're going to get it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
exactly.
know Okay.
I don't even Walmart's not the wild. Like now, Walmart in person, it's real freaking wild. So we call that the wild. But like if I actually have to go somewhere and take a chance that there is or is not inventory, to me, that's the wild. That's hunting. Because the same thing is like if I'm going into the woods, and whether I go to a territory that I'm familiar with and I know there's deer there, I've been feeding them. I've been putting corn out for them. Yeah. And I've been spraying the deer pee all over me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's still hunting. It's still the wild. Or if you go somewhere where it's like, I have no idea what's going to be here. I've never been here before.
Yeah.
That's the wild. So next up, one of my favorite local video game store. It's a vendor mall and I have a booth there as well. I got a message. I was actually, I was doing a Whatnot show a week or two ago, a week and a half ago. And, the owner, who's a friend of mine, he's like, Will.
Yeah. He said, I'll send you not the wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the wild. But yeah, so the owner said, hey, do you have Michael Jackson, The Experience HD on Vita? And I said, no. He's like, I do. And then doesn't say anything else. And I'm like, bro. And we kind of have this deal. It's kind of unspoken, but this is just the relationship we have. Anytime Vita stuff gets traded into his store, he's like, hey, I got this Vita game. It's yours if you want it. and I just go buy it, and I don't, whatever he wants for it,
Yeah.
He always does well by me. We do business together because he has a vendor mall and I have a booth there. And like for the longest time, before I even got on Whatnot, I was just taking my bulk and trading it into him. If it was like if it's worthy of putting on eBay, I just put it on eBay, or I would trade it, in the wild. Yeah. And
that GameStop.
Well, play if you consider the wild. So, but then he actually encouraged me to get on Whatnot, and that's taken off for me. So now I don't bring him anything, but I try to pay for whatever, and I buy from him on Whatnot all the time.
Yeah.
But so I picked that up this week, and I was super, super thrilled to get this. Not because I like Michael Jackson, or I have been playing the game.
I didn't even know it was on the Vita.
So it's one of those random ones that like it's a $30-ish game, 35 bucks. So it's not like the most expensive game in the world, but it's just I've never seen it in the wild. I've never seen it at GameStop before. So
I've never even seen it. I mean, I've seen it on Wii, but I've never seen it on the Vita.
So I actually used to have this thrift store that would let me buy all their video game stuff and resell it. And the dude was kind of squirrely. He's kind of weird. He kind of shakes a lot when you talk to him. So like he wanted someone like me to come in and buy it from him and buy up his stuff, but he always acted like selling it was painful. Like, have you ever bought from a hoarder before?
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's like that. He very much was like, and this particular thrift store, all the proceeds go towards the like the animal shelter down the road. Yeah. So it's like, in my opinion, you should like get it in and sell fast and donate to the doggies. But no, man, he's like, but he has this back room filled with stuff that's never going to get put out because he wants to look up, see what market value is. He wants to do a 50% of that in the store, and he doesn't have anyone to do it. And I'm like, well, I'll come in and I'll give you between 30 to 50 based on what it is. And then, it's done. I'll take it, and I'll take the risk with it. So either way, I got a sealed copy of Michael Jackson, The Experience from that deal, and I sold it. And I was like, I'm not keeping this. This is easy money right here.
Yeah.
It sold immediately. Wow. So speaking of, though, keeping with that theme, I walked into my local Goodwill this week and found the PS3.
Oh,
copy.
Wow. Okay.
So in 1 week, I got 2.
Man, I don't find anything at any video games at our Goodwills.
Dude, our Goodwills, I've been making shorts and making videos on it. They want $13.99 for games. They want $20 for games. It's rare and random, but they thought this was
find games at ours.
They thought this was a DVD. So
okay, so that has happened before, where they think it's a DVD, or it's like in a CD, like a PS1, and it's in a they'll have it with the CDs, and this. Okay, here's something that our friend would probably call scummy.
Ooh,
is
yeah.
so if I see, because I know that they're like I'm like, man, they're overcharging, so I'm not gonna do anything to lie or be deceitful, but I'll grab a stack and I'll say, how much for all of this, and they'll just ring it up all the same kind of price. If it's something, so I do stuff like that.
Same thing.
So what do you
that
say?
Was for Will. That was for Will.
Will said you should check out Macari for me. I'll tell you why I don't use Macari. We had somebody hack our Macari account, and it took them 2 months to even get the hacker out of our thing. Yeah, they didn't respond to anything.
It was Will.
Yeah, it was Will.
It was Will.
So we'll buy from it, but we don't sell on it anymore because we're pretty aggravated.
I gotta be honest, all my dealings on Macari and my brother. See, my brother and I have always been this weird. We are super close, but he's always been Nintendo. I was Sega. Yeah. He was Xbox. I'm PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Now he's a PC nerd, so he's kind of a loser. But I went down the eBay route, and he wanted to go Macari. I'm just like, do you always got to be like the odd man out?
Opposite.
Yeah. But so when we first got into, we both went into the mortgage business together, and then we started dabbling with reselling. So he went the Macari route, and just he can lowball people on there, and it's like they just take it. It's like, dude, you talking about scumbag practices. That boy rips people off.
Macari will take a lot of, because a lot of people when they first started on Macari, and it's also like I think, I mean, obviously there's people that are resellers on there, but Mercari also is a place where a lot of people say, hey, I'm trying to sell my electronics, or hey, I'm, trying to sell some stuff off. So you can do pretty good. And I don't know if you're like if you resell like vintage clothes or anything like that, or high end type stuff.
I dabbled.
So I love, that's some of the main things we find. But there was a site. It could be kind of annoying though. There's a site called Grilled, or a platform called Grilled, and you could get stuff for really cheap. And then also, people are always haggling and negotiating on there all the time. But eBay's, a little, obviously you can do that, but eBay's more for, I would say, more for people that are, really trying to just resell and get the value.
Typically, I kind of part my inventory. Like if this right here is an eBayable item, it's worth its money. It can go on the shelf and it can sit till it sells. That's what I do. For anything that's realistically, and I've kind of broken my own rules lately anyways, but I mean, if it's $10, $15, it's going on whatnot. I'm listening at $3 and we're going to just see what happens. And I will sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games. And it's kind of like that, quick nickel, slow dime thing. It's like,
that's what everybody says. So you're doing pretty good on it, because I've been kind of nervous just because of, building a following. And so I didn't want to like have a bunch of inventory out there, just go out for, crap. And
it's a crap show, but you have to be able to disassociate yourself with what the value could be.
Yeah.
To just move volume. And shout out to Shannon and Mary show. What's up, guys?
So, hey, Shannon and Mary. I don't know you, but hey.
For me, it's like, so I started, right? And you get on there and it's like, well, all the big guys do $1 starts. I'll do $1 starts. $1 starts is terrible, by the way, because after fees and then the credit card transaction fees, you get 48 cents for every $1.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is terrible. But if you're consistent with it, you can move stuff, and the bigger your following gets on there, the more people that actually bid on your items, the better you do. So I will say, for anyone getting started, if you don't have a social media following, like I don't have a social media following.
Yeah.
I don't even use Instagram. Like you messaged me earlier and I was like, I could make your life better and easier if I downloaded Instagram. And we have one for the podcast that like I will throw a video on once every blue moon. But realistically, I'm an old man yelling at clouds, telling people to get off their lawn. I use Facebook. I have a Discord and email. I was like, here's my personal phone number. I was like, you can text me.
Yeah. And that's what I did.
And so
that's honestly best. I use Discord because I was told to use it, but I'm like, man, nobody even comes to my Discord. Like there's a few people that come on and say stuff. It's starting to get some traction.
Yeah.
But it's honestly...
we use it. We had, for a long time, we had this Australian fellow on our podcast, and God, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's the number one trophy hunter in Australia. And so he brought a Discord following to our podcast.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, Discord's too complicated. It's like there's all these commands you can do and you can make stuff happen. And I'm like,
you have roles. And...
like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like,
that's how I was. I was like, what?
Yeah, like it keeps telling me if I put more than 5 pictures together, I can't do that. I'm like, wait a second, you guys can type in a thing and create the matrix right in front of me, but I put 5 pictures on there and I'm too powerful. Like, come on. So,
yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I just in Instagram, it's like I don't know. It feels. We have one for our band somewhere. And then we have one for the podcast, but I just feel like I hate social media personally. I just don't like using it. I don't like interfacing with it.
Look, I'm the same way, dude.
So for me, it's like I can do Facebook. I have my mortgage business. I operate through Facebook, like my scummy reseller Facebook groups. Those are there. Like I got that one on lock, and that's pretty much as far as my brain will allow. So.
Yeah. I don't like social media either. I only do it just because it's like, well, I mean, I'm bad at it, man. And I'm always like, my wife's like, hey, did you post a reel? And I'm like, man, I haven't posted a reel. And like, I'll go, hey, new video coming out. That's about it.
Dude, Yeah. My wife's like, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to post that. Hey, you need to whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
oh, you had a closing. Oh, you had a contract. Oh, you need to blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I need to do that.
But
And then
it's
I
not
get on
happening.
there and I'm just like, this doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
So I feel like I type up 100 different things and I'm like, you know what I really want to say? I want to say something about wrestling. I want to say something about Jesus. I want to say
Yeah.
something about video games. I could care less about anything else, or here's a picture of my kid doing something stupid.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's pretty much
Well,
me. So
a lot of people though like that. Like, so what I was told, of course, I'm not a social media guru, but I was told on like Instagram, you post stories and stuff regularly of just your life, and then you put like a reel of something, dealing with your brand. But like in stories, you're like, hey, here's me with my kids. We're playing a game. Something, it can be kind of similar, but it's more of like they're getting to know you because it's social media. But then like your reels, you put up something that deals with your brand. But I'm not good at it, man. And I like the editing. I like making videos, and so I just do that. But I could, I could probably do a better job. I'd probably get more following if I did that. But
that's kind of my thing is I've been doing YouTube for a year and a half, a little over, I guess a year and a half. And it's like, this thing probably could have been way bigger than it is, but that would require me to do things that are just not me. And I think I would rather it be what it is.
Yeah.
Like we measure success way different in our house. What is success to us is like, well, did you do the cool thing that you wanted to do? I don't care how many people follow it. I don't care how many people like it. I don't care how many people subscribe to it. Like sure, we set goals and we've got videos planned for the goals, but like realistically it's like, I'm not chasing likes, I'm not chasing people's favor. I want you to genuinely connect with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I want it to be fun for me to do. If anything in that process kills the fun and the joy for me, I'm completely disconnected. That's me in YouTube. That's me in podcasting. That's me in business. That's me at home. Like if we've had to have some hard conversations in this house. We've had to deal with some things with kids being in public school and just the onslaught of garbage that you get met with.
Yeah.
And when those days come, it's like, we're gonna plow through it. We're gonna do the thing. But like, there's a disconnect for me. It's like, I don't enjoy this part. Yeah. Therefore, I'll do what I have to do to survive through it. But I'm not interested in anything extra. As long as it stays fun and engaging and organic, that's always my thing is like, if it feels organic, then like I'm going to go and I'm going to give it 110%, 120%. But I'm just not going to do anything that's not me. And
no, I'm the same way. It's I'm sure there will be some things like you say, okay, well, I have to do it, even if I don't feel like it. But it's like, can I give you an example of that?
100%.
So with YouTube, there's so much advice on like, oh, you need to make your thumbnail look like this. You need to make the title this. You need to cut your segment shorter. You need, and it's all the stuff, or don't put that in there. That wouldn't make sense. And I'm like, no, I want the dumb thing in there that only 5 people get. And, and so I do. So there's a part of it where it's like, okay, you can keep your artistic side while still, because you do want people to watch you in a sense. So it's like, while still in some way catering to it, but if it comes at the expense of like not doing what I want to do, then I'm just not gonna do it.
Right.
Because the kind of stuff I want to make, people are like, well, you should just like show just you picking the stuff up, and I'm like, I know I'd get probably a lot more views, but I like producing the stuff I produce. And so it's and so that's just how it is for me. Or I don't know, it's
your most recent video, my daughter and I were watching it together a little while ago.
Okay.
And it's the whole intro bit of you doing this, your intro for the series, right?
Yeah.
And there's that part where you look up and it's like you flying through on the green screen or whatever. Yeah. And my daughter said, "Dad, this could be you, but you're just playing." Because she knows like we are so goofy in this house and we do so much silly stuff. And then she's like, "You're watching this guy and you're smiling, and you're laughing, and I see it, Dad." And she's like, "This could be you, but you're just playing." And I'm like, "Oh, what a monster!" But
It is a lot of work though. It is. I will say this because the time the time I spend for like a dumb little edit that's like no one's gonna even notice it, but to me, I want it there, and I'll spend all this time like putting this behind a layer and then all this, and it's like, and then I'll show someone who's like, "Hey, did you see that part?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," and I'm like, "Ah, I just spent like 3 hours on that one little thing."
Dude, yes, that's so funny. I had my buddy Tricky Mick, and we did a little bit of a live the other day. We actually didn't do it live; we recorded it and I posted it on there as a live. But I just wanted to have a conversation with the guy and just catch up with him. And I was like, we'll use this as like number one. So if someone goes, "Oh, this is getting ready to happen," what did he do before that? Give an idea, right? And we were having a conversation about content creation. We were both lamenting the fact that it's like, you'll spend hours on something and you're like, dude, this is so good. This is so clever. And then no one gets it. No one, or they didn't even listen to that part. And it's like, I'll put, my kids think I'm stupid, but I put fart noises in almost every single word.
I do the same thing.
And it's like, if I open a case and there's not a disc in it, it's getting a fart. It's like,
I'm the same way. It's in mine. It's described as dry fart, and that's what and it's like, or it's just like.
It's so funny because, like, to me, I'm sitting there editing it, and it's like it doesn't get old. I'm laughing. I'm like,
I'm the same way.
And my daughter's like, "Dad, that's just so lame." I'm like, "You don't understand. You don't understand me. This is defining who I am."
I love fart noises.
Me too. So she made a short the other day for our channel, and it's so funny. We were hanging out, and she's very creative. She's very artistic. She's very creative. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I was like, why don't you make shorts for the channel? Like, you can take the existing footage, all the B-roll stuff we don't use, and just make shorts because we need it. So we went to Goodwill, and she had filmed a little bit of stuff, and there was just some crazy, we keep pulling cases out with weird writing all over the discs and trash in it.
Yeah.
She's like, look how dirty this is. I was like, ugh, that's gross. Get a picture of it. So then she takes a video, and then she takes some old footage. And then she takes this song called Fart Remix or something like that. And it's like a rap beat, but a series of farts. And she edits all these dirty, gross things we found at Goodwill. Even the shelf just being dirty and grimy. And I was like, I'm in stitches. I'm laughing. And she makes this thing. And it's like, dude, that was so good, baby. I was like, you know what? You're going to be somebody one day.
Yeah, right on. See, that's really cool because that's awesome that they're doing it. Because my kids they both have their own channels. And, of course, we got to monitor it because there's weirdos out there.
Oh, yeah.
But my daughter does a, like, Lego animation. And then, what do you call it? Oh, gosh. Still frame?
Yeah. My daughter used to do something like that.
Okay, cool. And my son will do stuff from like games he plays, and he'll do like kind of storytelling with it. But that's cool that your kids do the same thing. I love it.
So
I'm shaking the camera, my bad.
No, you're good. Weird story. My kids have wanted to do this forever. That's awesome, Blocky kid. So my kids were real little. We were streaming them playing Minecraft, and someone gets in the chat and was like saying wildly inappropriate things about my kids. I was like, block, we're done. We're not doing this. I was like, this is crazy. I don't know if you're just trying to stream and have a good time, and it's just people being weird. But I know we don't have a ton of time with you tonight, so I want to make sure we use it the best and we can. What I wanted to do for what we call this week's official topic here on the show is I want to talk about your background, and some of the similarities that you and I have, because the more I started listening to your content, the more I was like, man, like this dude and I, we got a very similar story. So I got a couple questions for you.
Okay. All right. I'll try to answer.
Okay. Well, I want to know kind of what was your journey getting into ministry? You're the Pickin Preacher because you're a preacher. So I got to know.
Well, it's pretty wild. Well, so I am a pastor's kid, and but I went off in my own rebellion, doing my own thing. Now the band I was in, we were like Christian by word, but not by deed,
Okay.
And I wasn't really living right. But then I kind of went off, kind of away from that.
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of got more into the punk scene, really. But I've kind of always been in it, and then, but anyways, finally, I started actually reading the Bible, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm, who I say I am. And that's whenever I really devoted my life to Christ and, repented and put my trust in him fully, and not just religious by, because I'm a pastor's kid. And I met my wife, shortly after that. And I was always like helping out in churches, and I was doing Bible studies for, like kids at shows and stuff like that. And,
Heck yeah.
and so we were doing stuff like that. But then how I got into ministry, like actually being a pastor, I've always kind of felt, I have a heart for discipleship. And so that's kind of what happened. Makes the story short. I just started meeting more people, and just discipleship Bible studies. And we were doing a little house Bible study. And, I kind of got burnt by a lot of ministries, really screwed up, messed up, and won't go into all that, but disillusioned, and then just kept doing, but I just kept being faithful and just doing Bible studies. And then I met a lot of people like-minded, and then I got ordained, and I'm ordained by the Spirit, but then
Right.
actually officially ordained, and then we started a church. And then so I was so we're a small church. We have we're kind of out in the country, but we have a few families, and our missionary just got back from Thailand, and he was actually in my band as well. So that's pretty cool. But we probably got about 30 something people, and that's included kids. And so it's just always been a heart of mine just to disciple, and so it just kind of naturally flowed. Some of the people that I was ministering with, their pastor had passed away, and they asked me to start just preaching and teaching. So I started doing that, and then they asked if I would be pastor, and I was kind of like, oh, that's a heavy responsibility. So I prayed about it, and then I became. Then I said, I feel like the Lord wants me to do this, and then from there, the church just kind of got a little more developed, and with doctrine and with
Heck yeah.
and all that. So we got a little more, sending out missionaries and stuff like that. So that's
awesome.
brief. I mean, I could go into all kinds of detail, but
Yeah.
that's the brief bit of it. I will say this: I haven't always been who I am, and I don't know if you've heard the stories. I used to be extremely legalistic. And I actually was like, it's funny that I'm like, a lot of the circle of people that I used to be friends with can't stand what I do. Like, they think all this stuff makes me apostate, or not godly. And so I used to be real hard on people, and just hard on myself, hard on people I knew, hard on everything. And then just, just God really, I guess we'd call, chastised me, and started making me realize that I didn't understand grace. I was making things salvation that weren't salvation. And so through that, it's really helped me. And it's been a journey. But so, and that's our church, same way. Like, past 2 years, our church has grown in grace so much. And so now we're, we had a group of people that aren't with us anymore because they were just hard as nails and just running everybody. I mean, people that were genuine, just running them off because they weren't good enough. And then that's kind of what got me. I'm like, man, here's these people that are really wanting to follow God, but they're having struggles. And these people are just like, you need to get it together, blah, 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 And I was like, there's something that's got to change. And that's when I just started really saying, like, what am I really teaching? What am I really believing? So that's the funny thing. I used to be real hard, real legalistic. And I still have a lot of my conservative values, but that's kind of where I'm at now. And that's why I've actually opened up so many doors doing games and stuff. I've been able to minister to a lot of people doing this. So.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So again, just similar backgrounds. My wife and I, we've been together since we were 15 and 16. I'm getting ready to hit 40. We've been together for like 23 years. And
wow.
We would go to church to see each other because we weren't allowed to date.
Yeah.
And not because we were brought up in Christian families, but because all of our parents got knocked up when they were 16. So they're a bunch of
yeah,
smoke a lot of dope, have a lot of sex, and you have a bunch of kids. It is what it is. So, our time spent together to see each other was like we could both go to the same church, and then that was our like a little hideout to see each other. And so, at the time, we thought we were believers, but like it just wasn't real enough. Like it wasn't one of those things that consumed every aspect of life where it's like, yeah, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I'm like, how else did we get here? You know, I'm not primordial sludge. Are you primordial?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so, it was one of those things to where like being there together and just people pouring into us, discipling us is what really kind of got us on that path. And we had some rough years, but I was always a metalhead. I was always a rocker. I was always my wife's head cheerleader, freaking student body president, valedictorian, all this stuff.
My wife's valedictorian.
Dude, all that stuff. My wife was all the things, right?
Yeah.
And here I am, this long-haired, believe it or not, I used to have long hair. Jinko wearing, you know what I'm saying, rock band guy, you know. And so when we got out of high school, I pursued being in a band and but like it just was, we were terrible. My band was so bad. And I was going through a real rough time in life. And so I started going to this church where my wife was going, or my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And I met the dudes that I ended up starting my band with. And then there was something about these guys. I was like, man, these guys are like, they're Christians all 24/7. Like all their conversations are like super positive and uplifting, and they got really good attitudes. They're not these misery loves company type dudes, you know, and it really just showed me, I was like, man, there's something different about these guys.
Yeah.
So I started volunteering at the church. I was playing music with these dudes. We started our band, and I said, how cool would it be if we were a band that played this super heavy music, but like we were Christians on stage and off stage.
Yeah.
And that's what kickstarted. You know, we 6.5 years go by, 300 shows, touring all up and down, all over the place. We played Cornerstone Festival with POD.
We played Cornerstone. We played Cornerstone. What's your band name?
Ninja Loot. It's a terrible name.
That's amazing name.
So, what was the name of your band?
Fight to Die.
Okay, what year did y'all play Cornerstone?
Oh man. We played a lot of Cornerstones. We played the underground stage, and which was kind of right when you come in to the right. I wonder if do you remember a year that there was a group of guys with acoustic guitars walking around, and they were saying, orgs are the biggest and the strongest, and there was like 1,000 people following?
No.
Okay, I was part of that, and it was wild. So anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
So we played the year that POD headlined one night, Blindside headlined the other. I think it was 2012, 2011, 2012. We were the last big year. We killed Cornerstone.
Okay, I don't think I was there when they were playing.
Brian Welch, the guitar player from Korn, his band played. So we played. If you're looking at the stage, we played the left tent, the Sacrosanct Records stage or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
The giant, but it was like 115 degrees underneath that circus tent, and it was like murder. So we went down to that. There's like that pond or that lake or whatever, like down at the end of the property or whatever. So we spent most of the day there. It was sweltering.
I think that was the one year we didn't go. I think it was the year after we had like broke up and wasn't doing it anymore. Yeah,
2013 is kind of when we went on a long hiatus in 2013. But it's funny, you were talking about being very legalistic. I was at this point in time, I was invited to be the youth pastor at our church. And I had families standing outside the church with petitions trying to have me removed. We had church members trying to have me removed because I would preach in shorts.
Okay.
I came from a very legalistic church, but I was always the type that was like, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be standing here. And it's not because I changed who I am. It's because God came changed me. Like I wouldn't be capable of treating you as good as I treat you if it was left to my own devices. I'm a child of trauma. You know, I got a background, and I wasn't capable of loving people, and I definitely didn't. I mean, if again, God gave me my wife, and she's been just completely just changed everything about me, you know, and he used that, and he used us together. And so, but it's funny because You know,
Wow.
I fought a lot of those battles, and there was a lot of families that were, but I was very fortunate that my pastor and his wife believed in what we did,
Yeah.
because we were out there, like you were talking about, doing Bible studies and stuff at the shows, and that's what we were doing. We were doing. I would teach on Wednesday night. We would have Thursday night Bible study with
Yeah.
like the people that came from, watching our stuff. Shows on Friday, shows on Saturday, church twice on Sunday. Monday night's the wife's night, Tuesday night's band practice.
Yeah.
Every night of the week.
That's really cool because like I didn't really go to all the details, but we started a metal band, and we started a metal band called Exhortation. Now this was whenever I had like, I was raised religious, but then this is when, like the band was religious, but then when I like got born again, and I was really, had put my trust in Christ, and it wasn't just I'm a church goer, or I'm a Christian by word. Like whenever I really put my faith in Christ, and I'm not saying did everything right, I'm saying put my faith in Christ. We started a metal band, and we were like, hey, exactly what you said. It's like, we had a like a big screen behind us, and we would like, we opened up with like persecuted Christians in China, and then like ones in India, and they were like getting like video of it. And then there was, I don't know, you've heard of the preacher David Wilkerson? He's got, anyway, well, he was like, his message, it was him and Leonard Ravenhill and a bunch of others, and it was talking about like persecuted church, and then like also showing like where we're at in America, where there's just like, just riches and all the stuff. And anyways, it's what happened is that a lot of, so this is where I started veering off in legalism, is the Christians were actually coming against us. And believe it, but it was on the opposite side. It was the Christians that were saying, don't ever talk about Jesus. And we were like, because you'll turn people off if you talk about Jesus. And I was like, well, isn't that what we're trying to turn people on to? And so they were like, no, it's just hang out with them. I'm like, well, we are hanging out, but we're also, telling them the truth about Jesus. And anyways, they didn't, we were starting to see that. And so I got real disillusioned. So when I got real disillusioned, I went to this like holiness or hell type mentality.
We did the same thing.
Okay.
We did the same thing. Dude, it was one point in time where our band was very popular for Columbia, South Carolina. Like we would get anytime no one plays here, but if someone did play here, we got main support. We got to be the local draw. Like we were playing all the big shows. We opened up for Flyleaf in Finley Park. You know what I'm saying? 5,000 people there. We got to play with the Chariot. We got to play with Impending Doom, My Children, My Bride. All these guys. We got to open up for freaking, what's his name? Jamie's Elsewhere and, Memphis Mayfire. I mean, we got to play with all of our favorites, right?
Yeah.
But like, the thing we kept hearing was like, you guys don't preach on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold up. So what we did was we built a deck on my first home, and all the deck board that was left, we built these boxes and spray painted them black, and in giant white letters was Jesus on one side, saves on the other.
That's
and
awesome.
We had these giant like boxes with like halogen lights in it. We had a guy that would sit behind the amp stacks, and he would turn them on bright as anything. We'd kick over the steps until we like boom. And then Jesus saves, and then 300-pound guitar players are standing on top of these things, slinging their guitars around like pendulums. Like that was what we would do,
That's awesome.
And we got very hard into that. I don't want to say legalism, but very much hell or holiness or hell, because we were catching from both ends. Like the non-Christians, the non-Christians didn't want anything to do with it, because we were very, very strong in our approach. And also we're large humans. So we're very
large human.
We were me and the other guitar player, we're 300-pound dudes that we were big boys. Corn fed, but we also work out a lot. So it was like not only are we very aggressive in our approach and presentation between playing drop tune 7-string guitars, tons of breakdowns and crazy double bass, but also like you're not going to impose your will on me. It's kind of that was very much our thing. And then also the Christians were very much like, nah, dude, it's too much, turn it down. And we're like, no, I'm not turning down. I'm turning up to 11. I'm turning up to 25. I'm gonna freaking throw my guitar across the building and I'm gonna scream at you. So, we got, ahead of ourselves on some of that approach as well.
Sure.
And we had to learn, because the more we were rejected, the harder we pushed. And there was a certain point where we could do no wrong. And then there was a certain point where if there's 300 people in the building and we stop the music and start preaching Jesus, there might be 3 guys left in the building.
Yeah. You sound just like we were. Well, then so what happened with us is we finally were like, well, let's just go preach. And so we even stopped music. So we were like, it was first. So it just first started like, repent, trust in Jesus, and so we were preaching a very bold message. We were going on the streets, we were going everywhere, right? And so even our band, like we were developing, like in the South, we were developing like groups of people that were like prayer teams, and we would go and we were wanting, like I had all this all planned out, but then we were like, no, let's just go preach. And so we're like, it's going to be a lot easier. But what happened is when we did that, then we ran into a lot of other street preachers, and then running into the other street preachers, we started going, oh, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. And we got real hard on people, and then hard on ourselves. And then, we're just out rebuking everybody. And I realized like I burned a lot of bridges, and with a lot of Christians too, like good people, and, and a lot of lost people. Like I had no influence anymore. And so it's just, and then like you said, it's like, who cares if there's only 3 people watching? It was like a martyr complex. Like, no, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And
they walked out because they can't handle the truth, and I'm bringing the truth. And Jesus is like, I don't need your help, bro.
Yeah,
you plant the seed. You let me do the rest.
That's right. Well, and that's what I've learned. It's honestly been 2 years. So that's awesome that you've kind of faced the. Yeah. Well, what's funny is I was even away from, like, I had this thought of like metal and punk rock, like, period, I have to stay away from. And so I've been kind of like past 2 years kind of opening up more, like, well, no, I like some of this stuff, and people are like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's not bad, man. It's
2-step and a breakdown gets that blood flowing,
That's right.
Dude, insane. So similar, I had to step away. Family, I was ride or die. And I've never been one of those guys that needs to make a lot of money. I've never been one of those guys that needs to be famous.
Yes.
I just want to do the thing. And as long as the needs are met, I can be poor, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But the wife needed me home, the kids needed me home, and it was, ultimately for the better. And I went to serve at different churches and things of that nature. But I know you don't have much more time, but obviously I knew.
Well, no, I kept talking. My bad. Sorry, that was my fault.
No, you're good. I knew once we got really sharing these backgrounds that you and I are going to connect, and we'll do this again. But next thing is, we talked about the band and the ministry kind of stuff. But how did you get into the YouTube side of things?
So how I got I actually started reselling before I started collecting. YouTube is actually what opened me up getting out of, like, I was already getting out of like legalism, and YouTube kind of helped me. Well, let me just quick brief thing. Whenever me and my wife,
got all night, man.
All right, cool,
I'm good. You do your thing. I got all night.
When my wife and I one of the reasons I was saying time is because my camera only lasts an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
So when my wife and I used to help out in our youth group back in the church we used to be a part of, and we would make funny videos. I also had a landscaping company, and I made a YouTube for that. I've always liked that because I could just kind of goof off and be myself. A lot of stuff that's inside of my mind, that I was kind of nervous about bringing out to other people because I didn't know what they think. I was able to do it on YouTube. So anyways, I started reselling. I wasn't collecting or anything. And I was like, man, people are like, you should do a YouTube. You're fun. You're kind of interactive with people. And I was like, I love the creation of it.
Yeah.
And so I sat down in front of a camera and for like an hour, and I just spilled my guts. I didn't do a video. I didn't put it out, but I just spilled. Why do I want to do this? And what happened is, in reselling, I met a lot of, Christians, and I met a lot of, and also in the video game world, I met a lot of Christians. but what I found is that a lot of Christians didn't know how to share their faith, or they were kind of ashamed, or didn't think they could. And I didn't mean ashamed in a mean way. I mean, they're kind of shy about it. They don't know how to share it.
Yeah.
So I said, man, I would really like to just show people, to enjoy what they do and enjoy their life and have fun, and use it as a tool and an influence to, first of all, other believers, to encourage them if they're in the space, take such an opportunity. And so that's kind of why I did it. And that's how I got into it. I just spilt my guts to the camera. And then I said, I'm just going in. I didn't know what I was doing. I just started filming. We were making stupid content, just funny, dealing with reselling. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. But I started doing it, and just started like building an understanding to it. And actually the influence of Christianity, actually, speaking of which, the certain Discord we were talking about, I've actually had a lot of, like, I've prayed with a lot of those people. I've gotten to really challenge them on scripture, and a lot profess Christ. And so it's kind of God's way of humbling me to say, hey, just because somebody's not living a certain way doesn't mean they're not saved. And God's really helped me to see, that his body is a lot more broad and bigger than I realized. And anyways, with YouTube, that's kind of how I got into it, was through reselling. And then I started doing it, and then I started getting in touch with a lot of collectors. And then so that's why the channels, it shifted. If you look at some of the old videos, it's pure just reselling. But literally probably within 10 to 12 videos after like the first month or two, it goes straight more into, it starts going into video game reselling, then it goes more into video game collecting, and I have a little bit of the reselling side of it.
Heck
But a year and a half ago, I think is when I started.
We actually got involved because my
right on,
favorite.
Bryce. I just saw.
That's awesome. I see that. That's awesome, Bryce. We actually got into it because I was telling stories, just at a video game store, and the guy that owns the place was like, "Why don't you do a YouTube?"
No.
I was like, I do the podcast thing. I don't like being on camera. He's like, yeah, have you ever watched these videos? The camera's facing away from you. I was like,
yeah.
I went to the flea market. A couple crackheads popped out with a Nintendo 64 and a PS2. And so they got $3 for the Nintendo 64 and $2 for the PS2, and they slim and they worked. I was like, $5. I got 2 consoles. I was telling that story.
$5.
$5. Wow. And he was just like, and it had the jumper pack. The expansion pack and the thing. And so
don't let some people see that. You might get in trouble.
Yeah. I was like, dude, it was just crazy. Like, so a lot of times in our local flea market, guys will show up after the people collect the money. Yeah. And so like these guys definitely showed up afterwards to try to beat that. Yeah. And they were just pulling stuff out, and I already had a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, hey, how much for that? He's like, I don't know, $3. I was like, sure.
Sure, yeah, that sounds like a plan to me.
I said, how much for the other one? He's like, I don't know, give me $2. I don't know if it even works. And they did. I was like, but so this local store owner who's also a believer, and we connected on a lot of different levels. Yeah. He was like, dude, you should totally do this. And anyways, my kids always wanted to do it. So I was like, I'll try it. So actually a former co-host of ours challenged me to do like a horror game thing. Yeah. So you go collect horror games, and here's our budget, $20. Who can get the most valuable $20? Wow. Yeah. And that's kind of how we got started. And I kind of like, once I did it, I was like, this really scratches an itch for creative, like this creative stuff. I'm saying, like, I can get behind this, and I can take some of these ideas I have, because what I really want to be doing is playing music, but it's like, I don't have the band anymore. Yeah. Like, I mean, one of our vocalists, he's a pastor of a church, and some of the other guys, we were talking about being legalistic and rough and just going out there and we're going to preach. Well, not every single person in our chain was as strong as me and our vocalist.
Sure. Yeah.
We lost a lot of people that were very close to us because
that's how we were, me and our guitars.
It's like, we're believers, and our faith is strong, but like, we ain't built like y'all.
Yeah.
And they weren't built for the criticism, and they weren't built for the people walking out on us, and they weren't built for that. Yeah. And for me, it fueled my fire.
Same here. This is exactly what it did for me.
I'm one of those people, I just can't be shaken. Like, God is real. Amen. And like, maybe some days I can really articulate why, and go to toe with the best of them. Some days I'm just like, bro, I don't know anything else. I can't help you. You know,
no,
like
I
I
know.
can't not believe that he changed my life.
Exactly.
And that just like that energy that comes with it. Sometimes that old man, he still lives there and he gets excited. So for us, getting into YouTube has been a whole nother way to just be creative.
Yeah.
And it's something I do with my kids. And right now, at this point in life, everything is, can I do this with my children? My wife don't want nothing to do with it. That's fine.
Yeah.
She's not creative at all. She's a genius.
You should send your wife my wife's channel. She's actually got a YouTube channel. I'll send it to you.
Heck yeah. Yeah, do that. Yeah, my wife is not creative at all. And she'll tell you that. She is such a smart person, dude. She is a friggin' genius. Like literally, this is one of the most brilliant women in the entire world.
Yeah.
The dumbest thing she ever did was, right here. So
we both married valedictorians.
Yes, we both married very intelligent people. My wife, she's a master's in nursing. She won't go get her doctorate because it's boring.
Wow.
Like, come on now. But
yeah, she was what is it? See, I don't even remember what it's Summa. It's like the one right below Summa Cum Laude of her university. So I think she just said it. Did you just say it, Amber? No, somebody else was saying something.
Yeah. So, but again, trying to be mindful of your time and everything.
Yeah.
So I know you got the Sega Saturn saga going on, and that's very fun to watch. And you answered one of the questions I was going to have for you is, like, do you edit like regularly, or do you, or let me back up. Do you edit weekly, or do you film and edit over time?
Okay, so that's a whole other story. So it started with me just grinding to keep up content. And so I took a break in April and I edited a lot and I just kept stuff in the back burner. And so that's what's been going on the past 2 weeks. I pretty much edit every single day. I spend every video, I probably spend 30 hours on every video.
It's insane, isn't it?
So, yeah. So it's just because, like, man, I just can't, like, I keep seeing things and I want to do this and I'm learning a lot with it. But, yeah, I would say I edit pretty much multiple days a week. I try to spend 2 or 3 days where it's mostly just editing and then, but I can't let it get inside of reselling because it's not paying right now. I haven't gotten monetized yet. So it's and even once it gets monetized, like $10.
Now, yeah, and is it that you haven't hit the 4,000 watch hours, or that you're still?
It's watch hours. So I have enough subscribers. It's the watch hours.
I've hit the watch hours twice. I haven't hit 1,000 subs.
You probably have. You have longer videos though, don't you? You have like 20, 30.
Yeah, I try to keep it under 25 minutes, but I have gone. I've gone up there. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think my longest video is 18, but most are like, I used to only do like 5 to 8 minutes. Now I'm doing 10 to 15, and so, yeah, I know everybody's like saying, "Man, you got to do more," and I'm like, "Man, I'm just trying to keep the content that there is, So,
it's hard.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten to a point now where I'm only doing a full video every 2 weeks, not intentionally.
Really? Yeah.
It might be 10 days. And then I am just doing shorts throughout the week because it's so hard to resell, to source, to edit, to be a dad, be a husband, to work a job. I mean, and I'm not currently serving. I mean, I'm serving in our student ministry, but I'm not on staff. Yeah. And I'm praying for God to give me a position. And I've been out of that for a while. I still serve and I still volunteer where we're at, but I just hadn't got. He hasn't sent it to me yet, and I know it's not something I can make happen. So,
sure.
But for me right now, like doing the mortgage stuff is like, and that doesn't always pay either. When it does, it might be 3 months. So it's trying to divide that attention on what actually pays the bills, and then what is actually fun. So I've had to dial back on the editing, and like I've got 2 stations right here side by side. I got the editing and recording and podcast station, then I got the workstation. Yeah. And so what I'll do is I'll have my software up, and like I've been working on this next installment of the Xbox stuff for like days.
Yeah.
Just do a little bit here and there.
That's what I do. A little bit here, a little bit
A little
there.
bit. So,
Yeah.
but that's that it's funny. That was where I kind of wanted to know with guys like you and Cody who do so much fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to require hours and hours and hours of editing.
So I spend most of my editing. So we put the kids to bed except on like if at night I'm going live with somebody. So we put them to bed at 8:30, and so I that's what I do. I go edit, or I try to get all of the packages from the day. Done. And sales have been pretty slow for me right now, so we're not having a whole lot of sales. That's something we've been talking. We've been trying to diversify, but anyways, I do editing either late through the night, or I'll do it like a few hours a day. So I'll spend 2 to 3 hours a day, and then Saturday I'll spend a long time editing. So yeah, and with the church, we're a small church, and so like I'm not up there in an office. So we have, I have commitments that I have. Like we have an evangelism day. We have a day so I spend going out doing evangelism with some of the people from the church, and I do that once a week. And then I have Wednesday nights. I teach on Wednesday nights, Sunday morning, and our Sundays are pretty much all day because we also have a meal every Sunday. And then well, that's yeah. So I'm only like 3 of my days are taken up with that, and then I have a day, preparing messages and teachings and stuff, and then obviously, full time I'm on the phone all the time. So I'm literally on the phone all the time, dealing with something. So they're wonderful, but if you're even watching, I love you. It's just I'm on the phone. There's individuals that they call all the time. So and I have to be there. So but I'm able to, reselling's my full-time gig, and so I do that full-time. And thankfully I was able to sell a landscaping business and start doing reselling. So I took a huge pay cut, but now I'm available for my family. I'm available for the ministry. See, I used to not be able to answer the phone. I'd be like, I'm way too busy, guys. I can't talk. But now I'm available.
Heck yeah. I want to acknowledge the chat real quick. What up, Steven? Bryce, I love your story. And then Who's Man's good night, appreciate it. So it's awesome,
Jared and Eric. Do you know Jared and Eric? Oh, amen. I just saw Who's Man's.
Yeah, I was just reading through just kind of what's going on.
Yeah, so, they're fired up, by the way. They've been asking me a lot and then telling me stuff that God's opened doors. They're fired up for the Lord. So heck
yeah. That's awesome. Well, hey, we'll kind of land the plane with the last one, this last question for you, man. And I do appreciate this has been awesome. And
oh man, I enjoyed it. I'll have to have you on mine too.
So. 100%. You just say when. So I know that the saga is what's important now. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I know Saturn is your shtick.
Yeah.
But inevitably that library is going to be complete and you're going to be done. Do you already have your eyes set on the next thing, or
you say inevitably? That's it. Have you looked at the price?
Oh yeah, my brother's a Saturn guy. I went and took my wife to lunch today, and then I went and visited him and my nephew. My nephew's going to turn 1, and because we both do the same type of job, I try to pop my head over there and just everybody loves Uncle Darrell.
Yeah.
And so I go there and we were talking. I said, dude, I'm gonna have the Saturn guy on tonight. I'm gonna have Pickin Preacher on. It's gonna be awesome. He goes, dude, I'm gonna check it out. Yeah. And he's a big Saturn guy. Okay. And before we both took the plunge into the mortgage business, where your entire life is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
He was going hard on some Saturn. He was going hard. And so he even he was going hard on Japanese Saturn too.
Yeah, I'm not doing Japanese. Not right now, at least. I never had it. So this is honestly a nostalgia thing for me. And even though I only had we had like 20 games, which I already have all the games we have, except Magic Knight Rare. That's the other one I need. But it's like, it's just something hit. And I was like, I'm getting them all. But that's going to take me a while because it seems like as soon as I'm ahead, man, like our car air just went out, our house air just went out, man. And then I don't know if you saw where, like the next week, I'm going to be talking about this on the video. Taxes, man, my taxes screwed me from my old business. It was taxes, back taxes. And so that really threw me for a loop. Man, it's We have plumbing issues. I mean, there's
Dude.
all kinds. So it's that is what I'm going heavy. Like all the other stuff, like everything else back there, like there's a stack. I had to pull a lot of stuff from the collection because I'm having to resell it just to help. I didn't want to, but you know that's another reason I have it. Is 'cause some of the
100%.
stuff I don't play, and so I want to have it there, and for a rainy day. But the other stuff is like if I get it in a lot or collection, and I can set aside a game or two. But Saturn, you just don't find that in a
No,
wild,
you
like
don't.
ever. And so you might find it at like a Game Exchange wild, but not like wild.
Right. Well, I mean, Game Exchange. Come on, that's not the wild. That's
But
like a GameStop.
That's what I'm saying. That kind of wild.
Yeah. Oh, that's what did Will call it? He was like, he's like when you go to like a
Like King of the Hill. Whenever they went and took his son, he took Bobby go hunting.
yeah. I love that show so much.
Oh, this is so funny. But yeah. Sorry, I was blabbing.
No,
You were asking what's next.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, no, you don't have to tell me because that might be something you want to.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you because I've been telling. I already have it in the works. It probably will be releasing in July. So when June's done, I'll kind of go back to like releasing a few pickups and kind of just the normal content, and then in July, hopefully in July, it might be August. I'm starting a whole new series, and this is where everything's going to go this direction from here on out. Everything, at least for a period, is I am buying collections to give away.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I've already gotten some people that want to get involved with that. I've had people like giving, like I do get super chats and stuff. People have been giving to that. And so I'm going to document all the giving, and I'm going to let everybody, do the best I can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take certain items from pickups. So it's still going to have a pickup feel to it.
Right.
And I'm going to take certain items and I'm going to put them, I got a shelf specifically for it. I don't know if you can barely see the little white shelf, kind of like what Cody with a K did.
I see it. Yeah.
And so I'm going to build it. And when it reaches a certain point, I'm looking for other channels that have people that, they know that are like genuinely, like, man, I just have a hard time. I don't make the money. I can't find anything. And I want to help somebody, somebody that's not known. The first series I already started with it and I haven't put it up yet, but I already did I gave a TurboGrafx 16 with some games, all complete in the box with the cardboard and everything. And so I gave that to somebody and he donated. And so that is going to another YouTuber that lost a whole lot. They lost a whole lot. And so there's a few Grail games he wants. And I don't think he may be watching. I don't think he knows you, but he may be watching. So hopefully he doesn't. But that's going to be how it starts, and then it's going to go from here on out. Every video is going to be about me setting aside a collection for giveaways.
Heck yeah, man! That's awesome. So I don't know that I have the discipline that you're showing when it comes to this stuff because, like, so we started we're just the pickups and the general collecting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how. Yeah.
And then we're like, well, we're gonna do the Connect Adventures Crusade because we kept finding Connect Adventures everywhere. So
yeah,
our crusade is to pick up every copy of Connect Adventures we come across in the wild. When we hit 1,000 subs, we're going to the range and we are destroying them. We're just destroying them. And one of the local stores, he's got like 60 copies now. I went by there today. He's got like 60 copies on his back table. And he was like, he knows what we're doing. He's like, whenever you're ready, $2 a piece, they're yours.
Nice.
So the day he might have 1,000 by the time we get there. When we get to 1,000 subs, right?
I have some. I'll donate to
when we hit 1,000 subs. I'm starting the video off. We're gonna take. Where's my little can? We're taking the GoPro. We're going to that store. We're buying up everything he's got in there, and we're heading to the range. And we've got some boomsticks we haven't even shot yet. So we're gonna really go nuts on it.
That would be fun.
And then we're gonna take one. Okay, we're gonna take one copy, and it's gonna be a bullet from me, my daughter, my two sons.
Yeah.
And we're sending that off to get graded. Then it's gonna be encapsulated. So we're gonna have it. Like Yeah.
You
So
talking
if
about Connect Adventures? You're getting
one that we destroyed, we're going to send it off, right? So it's going to be like a -0.1 or 0.01. But the one
wow.
day when we're eventually have our little YouTube button, we're going to have our Connect Adventures
That's amazing.
beside it. It's going to be, and it's a whole thing just for us to laugh. It's
Yeah,
like,
see, no, I think that's great. See, I love that kind of stuff. What I met a guy that had at the last convention had a Wii Fit graded,
that's so funny. That's so funny.
and he actually sold it to somebody.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. My kids, because see, people have been watching, and even though our channel's small, like we had people donate Connect Adventures. Like, as a matter of fact, I have a trade set up at the con tomorrow.
That's
And
amazing.
the dude messaged me. He was like, by the way, I've got a copy of Connect Adventures for you.
That's awesome.
Last time we were there, we 17 copies were donated to us.
Wow.
Something crazy like that.
I
it's
know
not a
I
big deal.
have a few that I could donate to.
They're
It's awesome.
ridiculous. So it's very fun, and it's something the kids and I are doing. And so, like I said, to the idea, and he said vanquishing the Vita, which I think is hilarious. Like,
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know that I have the discipline, because we're doing the Xbox thing as well, and it's like, well, I can't do that every week. My brain doesn't work that way. I need to. Here's a pickup. Here's a short. Here's a short.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, we'll get back to the Xbox. Oh, we'll get back to the normal pickups.
So that's how it started. I was doing the Sega Saturn saga,
Mhm.
and that's how it started. And Amber, my wife's like, "This guy, nobody's following this," because I would do that. I'd be like, "Oh, I found this," and then, people would say, "Hey, I saw you got the Saturn game," but there was no like, what do you call it? Cohesive.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was just like, "Oh, I found this. It's the Sega Saturn saga," and it's like, what do you mean you found a Saturn game?
Yeah.
And my budget was all over the place. I was like, yeah, my budget was here, and it was real convoluted. And so that's why I took a month off, because I was like, I really want to really get this established to where I can follow through and tell a story. And even while I'm watching the videos I recently put out, I'm still like, I could have put something else in there to make it more understand, to where you could understand it. So I'm learning, but yeah, I know I'm right there with you, man. I had to take a step back, and then that's what I did. Like, I'll put up the pickup videos, and I'll do an edit on that, but then I'll slowly edit the story ones, and I'll put those up for series later. And so that's kind of what I'm doing, because otherwise I would not be able to keep up with it.
Well, that's me right now. Like, I should be editing, but here I am talking to you too.
Yeah.
To you, so. But no. That's how my brain works. And like, like after Will and I talked, that's why I emailed you. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a talk to this guy.
Yeah.
So
right on. No, I'm glad you did, man. He told me he's like, hey, did my friend Darrell message you? I was like, no, not yet. And then I think like 2 or 3 days later, I got your email. So
heck yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those things to where I tend to not bother anybody in the space. I don't talk to any other YouTubers unless they're local. Harry Tornado's in our backyard, and Phoenix Resale's been down here and game hunted here with Harry. And we've got Brock's Finds, who he's at like 1,500 now, and he and I started about the same time.
You talk to Harry Tornado?
Yeah, he has a booth right across from me. Like, actually, his towards the back of the store in the same vendor mall.
Oh wow!
And go ahead.
I did a video about him when I had 30 subscribers.
Really?
And I did a video, and he loved it. And he didn't know who I was, but he saw it because I tagged him. And I'll send it to you later. Stupid. And it's where I roast his channel. I roast it like it's a very lighthearted roast.
Yeah.
But he shares it on Instagram and YouTube. And since I was so small, it didn't blow up crazy, but I think I gained like in just 2 days like 100-something subscribers.
I mean, that's a big jump when
that's what I'm saying. So it blew up real quick, and so that after that it's been kind of a build, and he helped me out a lot with that, and that was a lot of fun.
So Brock's Finds was in one of Harry's videos. Actually, two of his videos actually, and he went from, I don't know, 800-ish. We were close at the time, and then he got the Harry Tornado rub, and now he's at like 1,500. So, and the thing that's what's so great about Josh, is his name, Harry, is that he's super humble. He's super nice. We have conversations. We know of each other and we recognize each other. And he'll stop me and say, "Hey," but he doesn't ever remember my name, which is fine.
Yeah, sure.
But he remembers my kids because my kids have sold him stuff
Yeah.
at the flea market.
Oh, wow.
So, but we never. We didn't ask for the rub. We didn't want the rub. We were just like, hey, my kids thought it was cool that I know a YouTuber. So
yeah,
and
that's
so
pretty cool.
Last thing, and then for I'm gonna let you go because if you let me, I'll talk to you all night. I'm gonna be at Southeast Game Exchange. I got accepted.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
I have a booth. So.
It's gonna be awesome. We'll definitely we'll do some stuff. We'll make it fun. I'm going to bring my kids over. Actually, we have a youth retreat. That's our big beach blast. Is like that Sunday through Wednesday. So like I'm going to come up there on Friday and Saturday. Friday to help my friends set up, eat dinner with them. And then I'll film and do a bunch of stuff on Saturday and I'll come, harass everybody.
Yeah.
And have a bunch of fun. But then we're going to pack up. We got to hit the road that next morning.
You have a booth or you're just coming to
I got invited as media. So,
oh wow,
or accepted as media. One of the vendors sent me the link, said you need to do this. I filled it out, and they accepted it
or whatever.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to cut. We're covering it on our YouTube channel. So
okay, wow, cool.
This is our first time ever getting to do something like that. So that was the funny thing is we started this channel, and my kids thought it was amazing that I knew a YouTuber. Okay,
yeah.
The other day we're in the kitchen. I said, Pax, to my 9-year-old, I said, hey. How does it feel to be invited to cover a conference as a YouTuber?
That's really cool. Yeah.
He was like, dude, Dad, this is cool. I said, how many of your friends are YouTubers? They get to go cover things as media.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he was just like, none. He's just he's all in and we're having fun. So it's going to be a good time.
That's really cool. So, well, I'm excited, man. Yeah. It's just going to be me and my wife.
Cool.
And we're leaving the kids with my parents that weekend, but me and her are probably taking a little vacation, so we'll probably be there like 4 days.
Heck yeah, dude.
So that would be cool.
Well, we'll definitely come harass you, and you're selling, so we'll come we'll come spend some money.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do some video together too.
That'll be a lot of fun. So I look forward to it. Hopefully we will talk many times from now to then. Definitely appreciate
Bryce
you.
Is a content creator, Southeast Game Exchange. I was told I should ask to be a guest, and I didn't. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll do it next time. But
dude, I was just wanting to go. I didn't get to go last year because my son had knee surgery. And so we ended up missing it, but I was just going to go. Actually, I was going to volunteer as an employee for a friend of mine that has a game store that's going to be there.
Okay.
And I was just going to go help him and just spend time with him. And, super, super nice dude. Matter of fact, Steven, he was in the chat earlier. He owns Overstock Collectibles. Okay. So we were going to go and I was just going to hang out, but my son's surgery overlapped and we just couldn't make it work. And then, so I was like, hey, I'll go next year. And I feel like I'm always the guy that's like, I'll go next year. But like,
yeah,
I mean, we spend a lot of plays. We ain't nobody sitting still in this house. We never have our entire lives, but that's just the way we operate. So, I told him I was going to go, and then Beach Blast was there, and I'm volunteering and with student ministry. And I'm like, I cannot miss this because I didn't go last year. And then one of the other guys got this middle school student ministry position.
Yeah.
And I'd sit back and going, could that have been me? We were having those conversations, but he was a great pick, and he's way younger than me. So, chef's kiss, good call, God, on that one. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I ain't missing this year. I'm not missing. So, and then I saw the dates. I was like, no, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Siege for at least one day. Maybe I'll go the night before and help my friends.
Yeah.
And then they emailed me out of the blue, which I completely forgot. And then they're like, yeah, you've been accepted to do media. I was like, oh, okay, we're definitely going.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be like, oh, well, we got accepted, but we can't go. No, we're going, and then we're going to the beach. So
right on.
We're gonna come hang out. We're gonna kick it with you. And so appreciate you, Keith. Thank you, Pickin Preacher. If you are watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later down the road, give this man a follow. Watch his videos. They're hilarious. They make me laugh. And clearly, if they make me laugh, it's comedy gold. That's actually the only reason I'm friends with Will. It's because he makes me laugh. If it wasn't for that,
that's the only reason.
If it wasn't for that, I would have nothing to do with his reselling ways. I'm just kidding. Will's a good dude. So
Uh-oh.
thank you so much. Is there anything you want to put out there, promote, talk about real quick before we land the plane?
Jesus is Lord, and He can save you from all your
Dang
sins.
right, He is.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what's most important. Yeah, check out the YouTube, and if you like Saturn stuff, I talked a lot about Saturn stuff. So.
Real quick, one last thing. Do you remember when after 9/11 when the Jesus VHS got mailed to everyone in America?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever see any of the YouTube or back then it was like not even YouTube, but the Jesus movie dubs?
No.
Where it's like they have the footage from that film, but someone dubs it almost like Kung Pao.
No, I haven't.
I will send you the videos because my daughter and I just watched them. But it's like it's Jesus walking out, and he's like, "Look at all these sinners," and he's almost sounds like the Joker from Dark Knight. But there's one scene where he goes into the temple and he flips over the tables, and he's like, "There's that, and it's just one of these things that burns.
I love Kung Pao, so that would be great.
Same. It's so funny. Chosen one, I'm coming.
So in the latest video, I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah,
I go,
yes. Yes. Dude, it's so funny. My daughter and I, she was like, wait, was that from Kung Pao? So
yes, it was.
We were just talking the other day because there's a scene from that Jesus thing I'm telling you about that we're putting in our next video.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, Zoe, we gotta figure out how to do the baby. Like so cute. Bye bye.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so cute.
It's so cute. Bye bye.
So you want to know how to do it?
Sure.
So just go to get a clip from it from YouTube because you can't get it from. I don't know if this is technically the proper way. This is what I do. So I go to YouTube. I go to a little download YouTube free site.
Yeah, I've got one bookmarked.
Boom. Just do that and do it to MP3.
Yeah, I just got to figure out like how to make it work in the context of the video. Okay. The technical side I've got, but I just got to figure out how to put that in there, and make it work. But it's so funny because I was watching your video, I was like, wait a second, that sounded like it was from Kung Pao.
Yeah.
and then between that and then we've been watching that Jesus dub thing. I'll send you. It's just like so.
Yeah, please do. That sounds. I love
so
that
funny.
kind of stuff.
But I want to put that scene of the whole, so cute. Bye bye. Like, how do I make that work in a video? I don't know yet, but it's coming. It's going to happen.
That's so good.
Also, guys, go check out the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast. If you want your YouTube channel hated on, and if you want to be labeled as a filthy scumbag reseller, that's the place to go. And I love those dudes. They're great guys. Keith, I told you, I promised you I would hour and a half. I blew that out of the water. So sorry.
I said an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because that's when my camera starts dying. So it's otherwise it would just.
So awesome. Well, hey, appreciate you guys. Go check out the Pickin Preacher. Go check out those videos. Thank you so much. And I don't actually have a proper outro video because I always change it. So we're going to watch the intro again as the outro.
I feel the minutes count down on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't